Is World War III coming? Well, the United States is now preparing for a military escalation. This is according to the most recent reports. Now, we have known for some time that there are many different issues throughout the world. Well, now we know that Israel and Gaza are in it for the long haul. And these are according to statements from Israeli officials. Now, in today's video, I want to explain what's going on, why there's so many worries about regional escalation, what the United States is doing, and what they are warning other people not to do. So, make sure you stick around for this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. So the first thing that you need to understand is that President Biden and other world leaders are worried about regional escalation. Look at this. It says, behind the curtain, Biden fears wider war in the Middle East. This is something that is also a fear of other world leaders, and it's fueled by a series of skirmishes beyond the fighting in Gaza. That is what is causing a lot of these issues, is because the other skirmishes that are going on. And it was discussed by the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and the Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant on Friday when they had a phone call together. Now, I just want to be very clear that right now our world leaders are discussing de-escalation. How can they ensure that we do not end up in a new world war? Well, this is where President Biden has stepped up his side of the defense. And I will explain more on that in just a moment. But something that has been getting a lot of attention just the other day and also this morning is what we now know, that the Saudi Defense Minister Khalid bin Salman is actually expected to visit the United States on Monday. He's going to visit the White House. Okay? So he's going to come and have a talk with President Biden on Monday. Now, a lot of people are speculating that, this is very problematic. This is going to turn into a huge shouting match and just another fight. Well, here's what we know. This trip was actually planned long before the initial attacks from Hamas on Israel. This was back on October 7th. So about 22 days ago. So both the United States and Saudi Arabia, they both have concerns that these issues are going to intensify. And because of that, they want to nip it in the bud. Now, even though the United States did perform 2 airstrikes on facilities in Syria, they said that that had to be done because it was just continual attacks on U.S. troops. So that was the United States sending a message that you need to stop the attacks on U.S. troops, or else this is actually going to intensify. Now, we have additional concerns though, and this is where things get very tricky. What we now know is there's a major concern on the northern border of Israel. Okay? And the reason why this is a new concern is because officials believe that Hezbollah is going to increase and really intensify its attacks against Israel simply due to Israel's ground operation in Gaza. Now, the reason why Hezbollah is getting more involved is because obviously they're backed by Iran. But it's something that happened the other day. Let me address that. Just yesterday, the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he announced that Israeli ground forces were going to enter Gaza. And he called this the second stage of the war. And again, he's going into the ground operation, which he's calling the second stage of the war, after the Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. So that is part of the problem. But here's where things really get interesting. If you're wondering about the war potentially being over, is this going to end very soon? Well, according to a senior Israeli official, they said, and I quote, "We are moving carefully without going wild." It says there is no need to rush because it will take months anyway. So if you are thinking that Israel and Gaza are going to end this very soon, well, according to this Israeli official, they are saying that no, they are going to take their time. They're going to be patient. They're going to be methodical because it's going to take months anyway. Now, how could this potentially turn into a world war or more of a regional war? Well, this is how the U.S. could potentially get sucked into this mess. First, here's what we know. The United States has been sending over equipment and personnel into the region in order to send a clear message to other countries to not get involved. As a result, it is putting the United States close to the line of fire. Now, the ground attacks on Gaza had to be delayed by several days in order for the U.S. to get assets into defensive positions in the region. And now that they have done so, the ground attacks can begin. But according to multiple experts in many reports, administration officials believe that the key to preventing the conflict from escalating is actually pretty simple. They need to send a clear message to Iran and Hezbollah that they need to stay out of it because the United States is there. We are not thousands and thousands of miles away. We are right there. We are close by, and we can attack at any time. Even President Biden took the steps of sending a message. He wanted to send this message directly to the Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah, I believe, and they warned him not to target U.S. troops in the Middle East, that this is pretty much off limits. Even the White House spokesperson, John Kirby, he came out and said, and I quote, "There was a direct message relayed." But White House officials have also stated that there's very little margin for error here, and that a generation-defining war isn't a foregone conclusion. So, right now, the steps that have been taken is there was an attack on Israel. Israel attacks Gaza. The United States feels like we are being attacked, that Iran is attacking our troops over in the Middle East. So the United States decides to perform 2 airstrikes. Now it is intensifying. Now the United States sends more military personnel and equipment over to the Middle East. We are sitting in the Red Sea, and now Iran and Hezbollah are looking at us as that we are the ones that are attacking them. So it's an interesting turn of events, but the U.S. is preparing for military escalation any day now. So as we get more information, I promise I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But for right now, this is all we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.